But how do we get you to take up all the space now that you're the lead?
I mean, I think I do. It's just
You don't even
ish,
believe.
I know, right?
You don't do it all the way.
I don't do it all the way, and I just gotta keep doing the work. I gotta keep reminding myself that I'm not a little girl, that I'm not a background singer. You know, it gets hard for me to compartmentalize those things sometimes because I am always in my head, and I'm always and it's another thing about artists. You know, we're always in our head and you know, concerned about the perception, and just letting go of all those things, I think, will help, you know, get rid of that last thing. Like, it's like my husband gave a beautiful analogy the other day about this with me. Like, he's like, okay, you had this coat on, and he's like, and now it's like you got the sleeves off, but it's like still hanging over your shoulder, and you just gotta just get that last little thing. He's like, you're right there. So I think I just gotta you know, get the rest of that thing off.
The Touré show. Okay, though. The Touré show. Okay, though.
That might be the best question I've ever been asked.
You're a phenomenal person. I mean, you legendary.
I am a fan of you, my brother.
Jade Novah is an amazing singer-songwriter with an album out called Where Have I Been?, where she talks about the words of affirmation she needs to find her journey to self-love. It's a deep album. She's a deep person. I love this conversation. Let's get into it. It's Jade Novah on Touré Show. Jade.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Like, how are you really?
How am I really? I'm really good.
Okay.
I am. I'm in a really good place. Yeah, I'm in a really good place. I can honestly say that. How are you?
I'm good. Tell me about singing. What is great singing to you?
Great singing is someone that I would want to sing at my grandma's funeral. I know that seems a little morbid, but I look at it.
But we got to honor.
You know what I mean? We honor our ancestors for sure, but that's my gauge. Like, when someone says, do you think this person can sing? I'm like, or argues to me that this person is a good vocalist. I said, would you want them singing at your grandma's funeral?
Well, here's one thing I think about, right? Because we talk a lot about Whitney Houston as a great singer, and she is a great singer.
Yes.
And there's a gymnastic ability to her voice that is athletic and extraordinary, and I am in awe of the things that she can do, right? But then I put on Nina Simone, who is not a gymnastic singer like the Whitney, the Mariah, whatever.
Yeah.
But Nina makes me feel it in my bones, in my spirit. I feel what she's singing. The first time I listened to Nina Simone, I was scared because I was 22. I'm like, I'm too young for this. I can't handle this. And then I got into it and I'm like, yo, she makes me feel it. And I'm like, that, to me, is a singer who pierces my spirit. What she's talking about.
I can get with that too. Because, I mean, I was just having this conversation, actually, about someone who's technically a good singer, like who understands how to use their instrument well. Right. And then there's someone who actually can emote and, you know, and create an energy exchange with that. So, yes, technically, there are great singers who know what they're doing with their voice. But I agree. Someone who can, like, hit you in the,
Someone hit me on Instagram the other day. Because Mary J. Blige was part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame conversation.
Yeah.
They're like, Mary can't even sing. And I'm like, okay, so you should delete your account. Because no, Mary is not in the Whitney Houston camp.
Sure.
But she is absolutely in the Nina Simone camp. She will make you feel her tears in your spirit.
Yep. She will commit to a song and make you cry even if you don't have someone who was your lover and your secretary.
I mean, I feel like I know the pain that Mary and Nina have been through in their lives.
Yeah.
Without them detailing it, I can hear it in their voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of singer are you then? Ooh. So like, because we've named a couple different camps, maybe you have a couple other camps in your mind of singers. What kind of singer are you?
I think I'm a combination of both.
Yeah.
I do, because I studied the Whitney Houstons and the Brandys and the Toni Braxtons. Like, I grew up listening to these incredible vocalists, but I'm also a drama queen. I also love the stage. You said you're a Pisces. I'm a Pisces moon, so I'm all about the emoting. And so I think I'm a good combination. I would say, like, the class of, like, whatever you would classify Beyonce as, right? Because she can give you a vocal, but then she can also do a very commercial record, and she can sing anything. And so, yeah, I'm a student of the Beyonce era as well. So I think I'm a bit of both.
Yeah, Cowboy Carter, she's giving you moments of opera.
You understand?
And also hip hop and
Correct.
also pop
Yes.
with like a Bodyguard, a Levi's. I mean, like, I can do whatever, daughter. I can go wherever you want. It's kind of incredible.
It is. And that kind of shape-shifting, I know I keep bringing up astrology, but I'm a Gemini also, right? Like, that's my sun sign. And so I've always been a bit of a shapeshifter. I don't like being boxed in. So I love and respect that about Beyonce.
So wait, are you really like, I don't know if I fully believe in the astrology, but
Fair.
I respect folks who do. So do you really feel like I am a Gemini, like that really affects who I am?
Yeah, I think, and I hear you, because I used to be someone who was a bit skeptical when I looked at it as like, okay, there's 12 signs, and then there's like 7 billion people. How could you possibly categorize these people in this, like... But I did a deeper dive, like a few years ago. A friend of mine did a birth chart reading. So that's where you go more in depth. Like, you have to know the time you were born. And so they'll tell you based on where every planet was at the time that you were born. The moon, all the planets, everything. And there's a different sign for each one. So it's sort of like this mashup of things versus just typical astrology where you only go off of your sun sign, you know, the sign that most of us know. So when I saw all those little nuances, and then he read my birth chart and it was so spot on, I'm like, okay, there's something to this. And I know, like, you know, the moon has such an effect on our planet. You know, it affects the tides, and we have so much water in our body. I just don't understand why there wouldn't be a connection to planet alignments and the push and pull of our bodies.
Like, I feel like if I meet a person from Atlanta or Los Angeles or Chicago, I can get a vibe. I might be like, the way you act, you're from Atlanta, right? You're from DC, right? Not you, like, you're from DC, right?
No, I'm with you.
I catch you like, oh, you're a New Yorker. Before you even told me, right? Most of the time, I haven't felt anything with the signs, except when I dated Pisces women, and when we, got to it, it's like, okay, this is different. This is special. This is unique versus all other sorts of people. But I haven't necessarily seen a consistent response to where I'm like, oh, Libras are like this, Caps are like this.
And see, that's where I think the nuances come in with knowing your sun, your moon, your rising sign. Where is your Venus? Like, all these different things. So I know, like, pretty much all of my astrological placements. So yeah, you can't just look at it like, oh, you're a Pisces. Because then, even to your point of even categorizing people by where they were born, like, there's external factors too. Like, you're never going to get this one size fits all Pisces. Yeah. I guess unless you doing something with him. I don't know what you was
I don't even know what that means.
You said it.
So you started in Cleveland. Cleveland is rough.
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah.
Did you have both parents?
I did.
And you have brothers and sisters?
I have 2 sisters.
What number are you?
I'm the baby.
Oh, interesting.
Are you judging me?
No, not at all. Birth order, to me, suggests a little bit more consistently about folks.
Agreed.
And I wonder if how much younger are you than your sisters?
Yeah. So between the 3 of us, it's 5 years. So the oldest is 5 years older, and then the middle is 3.
Okay, so not that much older. So you got a lot of attention for performing in the house.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you were the one who was like, let's laugh, let's dance, right? And people are like responding to you as the performer.
Yeah. Yeah, spot on. I say that all the time, actually, when people say, well, when did you know you wanted to? Because I'm the baby of the family. That's exactly right.
But there's a lot of poverty. I'm really close with Nina Turner. She's talked to me a lot about Cleveland. A lot of illiteracy, a lot of poverty in Cleveland. Talk about your Cleveland experience.
Cleveland, I guess I mean, I'm among those who probably grew up with not many means, but I didn't really feel it as a kid. My parents did a really good job of kind of creating the illusion that we were in a better situation than we were. Wow. Snow is the first thing that always comes to my mind, just the weather. We had all the seasons, which I loved and appreciated as a kid because it's just so colorful and just my imagination. But yeah, I enjoyed my experiences in Cleveland as a kid. But we were inside a lot during the winter because the weather's so unpredictable. So
What'd
I
your
think
parents do?
My parents? My father worked for a steel company. You know, Cleveland's a big steel town.
Yeah.
And he worked there until that went down. He was laid off when we were kids. And then my mother, she worked a lot of different jobs. They both only had a high school education, but they always managed to get some sort of work. And,
But he was struggling.
Yeah. But yeah, my mom, she worked at Stouffer's for a little bit.
Okay.
And then she ended up becoming a librarian for a second. I don't even know, do you have to have, did I just rat my mom out? I don't know, but she was a librarian for like 2 years at a school. And then I'm like, is she qualified? I don't know, but she was.
But she
and
got
then
the
she's
job.
been at Marriott ever since. She works in their training department.
So where did the singing start for you?
It started in my home. Everyone in my family has some sort of musical gift. My father, he plays guitar. He was in a rock band as a young man.
What was his band?
I don't know the name of it. I can't remember the name of it.
They didn't get signed.
No.
But he was in it.
Yeah, he was in it.
So he could play guitar. So did he play guitar for you to sing?
He did for me and my sisters. Like we would go and perform at nursing homes and like little local events like that. Yeah.
And mom too?
My mom wouldn't sing. I mean, she thought she could, but she was really into musical theater. So she had like Sound of Music and West Side Story and all of the Broadway musicals on vinyl, and she would sing around the house. Like she loves Barbra Streisand to this day, and so my mom thinks she can sing, so she would sing, and my sisters, we all sang. It was just that was like a love language in our house.
Were you the best one out of the three sisters?
That is correct.
As a singer?
Absolutely.
Because it's not always the case. Toni Braxton was here, and she was like, I was not considered the best singer in my family for a long time.
That's fair. No, yeah, I think I was the one who really stuck with it. I know I was the one who stuck with it. Like, for them, it was more of just, like, a thing to do, and I was the one who really believed.
Did you feel like, I'm good at this? When did you feel like, I'm really good at this?
I felt that from a really young age because I would get that affirmation from my family or just talent shows, like the reaction of people. That's what I kind of fed off
The people were like, the little one is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when did you say, this could be me, this could be my career, this could be a thing?
I would say when I was like 8. There was like,
really?
Yeah, I was around 8 years old, and there was a studio in my town that everyone would go to, and I looked it up in the phone book. I don't know if y'all remember what phone books are, but
they don't know what a phone book is.
There's a book that is yellow, that is very large, that has a lot of numbers that are published.
That's right.
But yeah, I found a studio, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I was in a girl group, actually, from the time I was like 8 until about 18 years old. So It was like a bit of a boot camp, and yeah.
Wait, when you're 8, 9 years old, who is the professional singer that you're like, I want to be like her or him?
It was probably Mariah Carey for me at that age.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really into Mariah Carey.
Wait, what era of Mariah is this?
Ooh, it was like, maybe like Vision of Love. But no, that wouldn't be when I was 8 or 9.
Before Emancipation of Mimi or after?
Yes. This is like Vision of Love and like Fantasy and Honey. Like, this is like
big riffing gymnastic Mariah.
Yes.
I'll tell you a tiny story. I respected Mariah's voice, but it was not for me. I'm a hip hop guy. I did not really get with Mariah's music until the Emancipation of Mimi. And Jermaine Dupri was like, let's take it down, right? Let's take it down a little bit, and this will be more powerful. And I'm like, yo, these songs are killing me. I love this Mariah. That's my girl. Somehow, it got to Jermaine that I didn't like Jermaine's music until he got to Mariah. So he was on Elliot Wilson's podcast talking about, yeah, Touré said da-da-da-da about me. And I'm like, no, no,
got it
I always
backwards,
liked
JD.
you. I didn't like her. And I'm like, yo, can you connect me with Jermaine? I'm like trying to catch everybody on the phone. Finally, I got him on the phone, was like, I always liked you. I mean, he's a great producer. There's no controversy. Everybody likes Jermaine's music, right?
Yeah.
It's Mariah who had it shift. And then I think a different demographic was like, these records are the shit, right? And so finally we nailed that. We ironed that out.
Cleared the air there on that.
Couldn't have that one.
Yeah, I mean, I used to look in the what do you call them, like the sleeves of the,
Yes.
that's another thing, children, that you may not know. CDs existed and you could
Liner
read the liner
notes.
notes. And I respected that Mariah was producing and writing these records. And she had a really wide vocabulary too. I learned a lot of words from Mariah.
Well, things that people don't do now, there used to be more albums that would have other parts to them.
Yes.
Talking parts, skits.
Interludes.
Right?
Yes.
That created more of a almost musical theater aspect to it. Very few people do that now. You did that
Yes.
on this album. Talk about what you were thinking about, what you were going for, why you wanted to do that.
So, I mean, that's exactly why I loved, musicians like Mariah Carey's, that storytelling element. And my new projects, Where Have I Been? And I really just wanted a space, I mean, conceptually, where I could play around with all the parts of myself that I love to do. Acting, storytelling, comedy, music. But then as far as the message, this self-love journey that I think that a lot of people can relate to. And that was really the motivation behind it.
Talk about what you mean by your self-love journey. Because the person that I have met today, I feel like she loves herself, she knows herself, she's connected to her spirit. But you're saying there was a journey to get there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I call this album my love language origin story because my love language is words of affirmation. And for me, I didn't get that a lot as a kid when it came to the more self-esteem building things. So my dad didn't say, I love you. He didn't really affirm. And I mean, we have a great relationship now. I think it was a generational thing too. Because even in talking about this, a lot of people can relate to that story and say that, oh, my parents weren't very verbal about love either. And grace, of course, given for that. But at the same time, as a young girl needing these things and not feeling seen or validated in that way from my father made me look for it in other people. And so I was just kind of creating these connections that are rooted in me wanting to find my self-esteem in other people. And that's the journey of this album as well, is just showing how the impact of not having that affirmation from my father affected my relationships with other people. And I would show up looking for someone to sort of fill a void for me that was my responsibility. And Wayne Brady, he plays my father on the album. And we have this song together called Maybe It's Me. And I think it's beautiful because I don't know a lot of R&B songs that showcase that sort of love story, that sort of love song. And it's like a song about accountability, not just, pointing the finger, because I know sometimes our generation can be like, Daddy, you didn't do this, or Mama, you didn't do this, and this is why I messed up. But this song is more so like, after a certain point, I'm responsible for how I show up in these relationships, and I need to release this, let go of that inner child that's still longing for that validation and sort of use that power to affirm myself as an adult woman and to take responsibility for my own love and to be able to use words of affirmation for myself.
What did you want others to give you? Like you're saying you didn't get enough at home? What were you looking for?
I wanted to hear I love you. I thought that it meant so much more. Because, when you're a kid, your parents are, if your parents aren't verbal about love, they're showing you love in ways that they can show up. But as a kid, I thought like, okay, well, if you're not telling me you love me and this guy is telling me he loves me, then this must be deeper than anything that I've ever experienced with my parents. Like it became this thing of like, okay, you're telling me I'm pretty. You're telling me I'm awesome. You're telling me all these things that my own dad couldn't tell me. Like, okay, great. Then this must be like real love,
So what are the words of affirmation that you say to yourself?
I say I am more than enough. I am more than enough. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am powerful. I am capable. Yeah, I am love.
You say these things in the mirror?
I have.
Because I had Tiffany Haddish came on and was like, I look in the mirror and I say, all those sort of things, and you're doing a great job, and liver, you're doing a great job, lungs, you're doing a great, heart, you're doing a great
love
job.
that.
And like really gets like deep into her spirit. But like, do you just say these things to yourself like in the morning or as you're going through the day? Like, is there a ritual to it or?
I like to journal a lot. So I like to write it. I write it down and I read it.
To yourself?
Yeah.
And
like little love letters to myself. I actually wrote a letter to my inner child. My therapist recommended that I do it. And it was beautiful. I read it and gave myself all the things that I thought I needed as a kid, and I gave it to myself and just sort of planted that memory. She even had me make an altar to myself. Like I put a picture up of my younger self and things that she might like. Because a lot of the project is also inner child work too. It's just sort of giving myself what I thought I needed as a kid from me.
Wait, what did you say to your inner child?
I wish I knew. Just kind of some of those affirmations, but just telling myself not to doubt myself, not to shrink myself. That was a big thing too. And it seems contradictory because it's like I knew that I wanted to be an entertainer, but there was a part of myself that still, if someone was doing a favor for me or giving me something or validating me, it felt like I had to like shrink to make them feel comfortable. I know that seems contradictory, but it was just a thing that I would do. And sort of music was the only way that I could show up fully.
In the music, you feel comfortable being
Yes.
big, but in a relationship, you want it to be small.
Exactly.
Wow. That's hard.
Yeah.
And it sort of goes against the feminist principles, right?
How so?
Well, it seems like I can be myself over here in the music in a performative space, but when I come to interact with my man, I'm going to shrink and make more space for him rather than asking him to make equal space and accept me as the big person, personality, spirit, all that I am.
Yeah, and I mean, that was in my younger dating for sure. But I think, again, that's why it's important to have that first example of what that relationship should be like in your father. And since I didn't have it, I didn't know how to take up space because my dad tended to shrink himself also.
What do you mean?
Like just the way that he would show up, like even things like, oh, I'm sorry, Dad. But like he didn't feel comfortable like sending something back in a restaurant.
Okay.
He didn't feel comfortable being, like he didn't like confrontation. Even if he felt something, he wouldn't say it. It was just easier for him to just allow life to happen versus being intentional about showing up in his full self. And so the combination of not seeing him do those things or him showing me how to do those things and then him not being able to show up for me fully the way I needed sort of made me, I guess, the opposite of the feminist experience.
So, okay, your husband is here. So I'm going to bring you into the room a little bit. How do you shape your marriage so you get these things that you know that you need because you know how it was when you weren't getting them, from your father?
I mean, it took time and it was work, honestly, before we met. I was starting to get into that space of journaling and manifesting and affirming myself literally right before I had met him. I had left Cleveland. I had left a really volatile relationship and I moved to Atlanta to really focus on my music and to focus on myself. And then I met him maybe 2 or 3 weeks into my Atlanta experience. And, I think... And you're saying how did I tell him, how did I show him how to show up for me?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I think just being vulnerable with him was the way. Because him knowing what I had experienced and knowing where I was, I think it was easier for him to be accommodating and to give me space while I was still healing, because healing is a never-ending journey, as we all know, but at least I was committed to my healing and so was he. And so us being able to be vulnerable with each other gave each other the space to kind of like pull back or, support each other depending on what we needed. So it was a very organic thing, and we both do music together. So I think in creating even this album that he executive produced, we're having to have larger conversations, and then that ultimately brings us closer together because he's hearing these stories and we're bringing them to life, you know, on paper and then through music. So yeah, we've been able to ebb and flow and grow in a beautiful, harmonious way.
Talk about the musical collaboration for this album, and your partner is, you said, EPing the album and you're working on ideas, and like, what's that like?
It's beautiful. I know, like, early in our relationship, because we put out 4 projects together, and then he's also my musical director, which means that we tour together. He performs the instruments and does the arrangements. Early on, because I hadn't really had that experience before, I thought, like, okay, how do we separate our relationship from our work? Because, you know, then it's all this pressure and da-da-da. And, you know, there's this narrative of what do they say? I can't think of the word, but you're not supposed to mix business and pleasure, basically, right?
Yeah.
And so I was going into it with that fear of thinking that if we were doing these things together, that there was just this additional pressure. But as we started to go deeper into our relationship, I realized that we just sort of spoke each other's language, and it sort of lent itself to the romantic side of our partnership. And I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. He loves what he does. And so it's okay if we're on a date, and then for a second we're like, yo, but that note, like, what you think about this? Like, it's beautiful. Like, of course I want to talk about this with you. Like, I love it. And why wouldn't I? So it's been a beautiful balancing act. And I think we found a really, really great space.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Am I allowed to cuss on here?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, shit. Because I didn't know. And there was a couple times I held back and I looked like a weirdo because
what did you want to say?
I can't remember. It was a cuss word, though, for sure, a couple times.
Fuck, shit.
Damn,
motherfucker.
I don't know. It was one of them.
You say whatever you want. How do you write?
How do I write? I write through melody. I do melody first.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear the melodies, and then I sort of like, it's almost like, I don't want to call it freestyling, but it's almost like the melody leads me to the lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like this inaudible thing, like just, and I kind of hear like, oh, did I just say that? And it just comes together that way.
So it's kind of a scatting into lyrics?
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. It is sort of like scatting into lyrics. It's like this vocal improvisation that turns into lyrics. And then sometimes it'll be a title that'll inspire me to write a song.
Okay.
Yeah, like I have like a document with just interesting song titles or interesting concepts. And then my husband will play something and I'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds like this title. Let's make this song.
What happens when you fight or you bicker or you're mad at each other for whatever reason?
Yeah.
But we got to do the music also. Got to do the job.
Oof. There have been, we have been together for 12 years. So it took a lot of work for us to get to the point where we can still get through those moments because they're going to come up. I mean, we're human and we're in partnership, so it's not always easy. But I think we're at such a good space now where we give each other grace, or we can kind of anticipate when things aren't going in the right space, and we'll take a pause for the cause and give each other the space to really just have that time to get through whatever we got to get through. So at the end of the day, I'd say that we are always prioritizing our relationship. Even if we do have something to do, we'll make sure that we're okay so that we can handle it the right way. So truthfully, it kind of forces us to make sure that we're okay all the time because we do have to be productive.
So you worked as you were growing as an artist with some legends, right? Beyonce, Rihanna, Lady Gaga, Missy. You were backgrounding for all those folks,
yes.
all these women? Can you talk about what you learned singing near, working near these specific legends? And I'm sure the lessons from Beyonce are different from Rihanna. And
Yes. I think I only sang background for Beyonce 1 or 2 times. It was for like a Title X show that they were doing at the Barclays. And in that moment, that the moment of sound check. First of all, she's coming in and she's introducing herself to everybody like we don't know who she is. And I
With
think
humility,
you know
I'm
what
Beyonce.
I mean? And I'm like, I know.
I'm here to work for you. I know who you are.
But I thought it was so beautiful that she went and she spoke to every single person on the stage. And then to see her, she has such knowledge of her craft and not just what she does, but the jobs of everyone else. You know what I mean? Like she knew the names of the lights are called Sharpies. I didn't know that until I heard her say like, I need these Sharpies up right here so the dancers can be like this. And I'm just like,
that's Beyonce.
That was Beyonce.
Wait,
But,
you do the Beyonce. Wait, can do some more Beyonce.
Hello, how are you doing? I'm so so grateful to be here with you, and I really admire this show. And Jade Novah, thank you for coming on here and talking great about me.
Oh, that was good.
But, thank you. But she knew the technical names of everything. She knew how she wanted the dancers to be lit. She knew. Yeah, and then still did her sound check and didn't miss a single note. Like, I was so inspired. My mouth was probably on the floor because I've never seen anyone that beautiful, humble, talented, educated, and like powerful. Like, I'm going to say what it is I need. Because again, that is something that I had a lot of work to do in that area of taking up space and feeling like, oh, well, they're doing me a favor and it'll be okay, But she's like, no. I need this and it needs to get done right. No. Not, you know what I mean? Like just going and weaving in and out of all of these parts of her. It was like crazy.
Okay.
It was wild.
Rihanna? We were a little more time with Rihanna than
Yes. I did 2 tours with her. And then she invited me to do, I opened up for her Savage Fenty, the Volume 3 fashion show. So I've known Rihanna for quite some time. And she... just taught me the beauty of friendship and family. The way that she treats her crew. The way that she always has her girl Melissa with her or her girl Jen with her. Like she keeps her people around her to keep her grounded. And if we were doing bowling or having an outing or whatever with the band and dancers, she's like, oh, I want to go. Like, take me. She wants to go. She wants to be involved. And I loved and appreciated and respected that about her so much.
What does she talk like?
Wait,
Do Rihanna.
I don't know is it good? I'm so grateful to be here right now with you.
What did you learn about singing, working, just feet away from these two giants?
The thing that I truly admire about Rihanna is she always sang her stuff live, honey. She always gave a show.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to...
Lip syncing.
Uh-huh. Never. Never has she ever. Never, ever.
Some of these professionals are lip syncing in concert?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, they are. You didn't know.
I don't think I realized that you might be in a concert and lip syncing. Like, not the whole time.
Yeah. It is a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing.
But she's...
Every single time, yes. I admire that so much.
Beyonce's not lip syncing.
Oh, no, I don't. I mean,
Don't
again,
break my heart.
I don't know. I only did one show
Yeah.
with her, and she did not lip sync that show. I can't.
I didn't think so.
No,
Don't tell me Santa Claus doesn't exist.
I don't believe it. Beyonce, she's
everything.
a machine.
She's everything.
I don't know. I can't imagine that.
Somebody told me a woman who was an A&R at Sony, or Columbia, when Destiny Child was first coming up. And a lot of people go on their first tour, a lot of artists go on their first tour, and they're like, that was a lot, I'm good. I don't want to do that again, or I'm not going to do that again for years or whatever. Destiny's Child came off their first tour, and Beyonce was like, that was awesome, when can we go back? It was me like, this is who I am, touring, working like constantly. So the drive we see now was there from the very beginning.
It's because she's a Virgo.
Beyonce Virgo shit.
I didn't want to say it.
Okay, what about Gaga?
Ooh. So Gaga's another one that I did a one-off with. This was when she was doing the Dive Bar tour, and it was a very last-minute situation. I think something happened with the singer, and she needed someone like very last minute. Like I was literally learning the songs on the way to sound check. Oh. Yeah. And there's only one vocalist. So basically I'm just harmonizing with her on all of the songs, right? So she is a showman. She is another one, very similar to Beyonce in that she knows exactly what she wants. And she understands the drama of what she's trying to come across. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I need you to hold this mic like this, and then I'm going to come over, and then I'm going to put my arm right here, and then I'm going to do like this. And I'm like, yes, bitch. Like,
all the musical theater
You know,
of it.
I love it. So you know, my musical theater, I loved it. Yeah. So I loved that she had a direction, and she, even in a dive bar, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, wanted to create this world, this immersive space for people to get into, like just from the minor details of how she was going to turn her head to what she was going to touch in this moment, or how her vocal was going to fall. Like,
the thing that's
crazy.
Interesting to me about Gaga, like Beyonce is Beyonce. She is herself. Rihanna is herself. Mm-hmm. Gaga is different. She is not Stephanie Germanotta. Exactly. She has become a different person, and she is in character all day long. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I mean, I also think Beyonce, this may be offensive to some people, but she has her jeans days. She has her sweatpants days. I am not glamming up today. Mm-hmm. I am chilling today. Today I'm glamming up. Today I'm chilling, right?
Yeah.
Gaga does not, I think she's like Prince. She does not own jeans. She doesn't own sweats. Every day she comes out of the house, it is as if we are going to do the Super Bowl. Mm. And it's something epic for the photos and for the fans and everything. So she became Gaga. And so you're like, even in the dive bar, well, yeah, I am Gaga in the supermarket, in the dive bar, at the Super Bowl, whatever this character is always. And I thought it was really interesting. I'm like, you're playing a character, but you're doing it 24/7.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of artists are, though. I mean, it may not be as avant-garde as Gaga, but I'd even think even Beyonce to a certain extent. I mean, and she says it. She created a persona with Sasha Fierce, and who she shows up in stage when she's in interviews, it doesn't seem like the same person. You know, Michael Jackson. Like, I think David Bowie, you know, like these art, like he became Ziggy Stardust. Like artists, that's a part of the artistic expression, I think, is allowing yourself to become something bigger. And I guess, myself too. Like the same story of feeling like in life, I was shrinking myself, but music and the stage allows us to show up in a way that we're not always welcome to show up. But
you're two different people as far as Jade at home and Jade when you're doing the music?
Well, I would just say as in the beginning, I would say, you know, now I feel more comfortable taking up space, and it's a never ending journey for sure. I'm getting better at it. But yeah, early on, I felt more comfortable on the stage having that sort of.
But you're still not all the way there.
No, I don't think I'm all the way there yet.
What can we do? What can we tell you? What can we give you to make you go all the way, to take up all the space that you want to take up?
You know, I think a lot of it came from my career path and being a background singer to so many incredible women and so many incredible artists, is that, you know, you're there, but you're not really there. And so your whole job is to support these incredible women.
And not upstage?
Correct. And not take up too much space. So I think that even though it was like this great stepping stone in my career, kind of fed that beast of like, oh, well, okay, I guess I can't say nothing right now because, you know, it didn't make it any better. So I think just sort of the reprogramming and really, I just got to keep doing the work. I got to do the Tiffany Haddish maybe and get down to the liver and the kidneys and the bones. But, you know, I understand at least why I have done that.
I mean, I think sometimes maybe the background singers might technically be a better singer than the lead.
Sometimes.
But the lead has this that's what we came for.
Oh, yeah.
There's something special in them. As soon as they walk in the room, I'll never forget, I was doing a story on Amigos, and Yachty walked in the room. I did not know who he was. He walked in with 4 people, and I was like, who's that? And from what I received, they were just 4 young brothers walking in the room, but I'm like, who's that one? Something is different. He hadn't even spoken to me. I'm like, I could see the it factor before he even opened his mouth. I don't know what it was.
You don't know what it was?
It
Was he
wasn't the
wearing
clothes.
something?
No, it wasn't the clothes. It was just that one is different. And I could just see it. And we can see the it factor at times. And that's what we show up for.
Who were the other guys?
Just his buddies.
So maybe that's why too, though. Because I think a lot of what we think is it factor is the way that people treat the people that they think they're supposed to treat a certain way. So it goes back to even being a background singer and feeling like, okay, if I'm in this room and I'm walking with this person, I'm not going to take up as much space as
But
them.
how do we get you to take up all the space now that you're the lead?
I mean, I think I do. It's just
Ish. You don't even
Ish, I
believe.
know, right?
You don't do it all the way.
I don't do it all the way. And I just got to keep doing the work. I got to keep reminding myself that I'm not a little girl, that I'm not a background singer. You know, it gets hard for me to compartmentalize those things sometimes because I am always in my head and I'm always and that's another thing about artists. You know, we're always in our head and, you know, concerned about the perception and just letting go of all those things, I think will help, you know, get rid of that last thing. Like, it's like my husband gave a beautiful analogy the other day about this with me. Like, he's like, okay, you had this coat on and he's like, and now it's like you got the sleeves off, but it's like still hanging over your shoulder and you just got to just get that last little thing. He's like, you're right there. You're right there. So I think I just got to you know, get the rest of that thing off. You know?
It's up to you.
It is. It really is. It is. I got to listen to my album again.
You got albums, you did tours, we want it.
Yeah.
From you.
Yeah.
You got to come with it.
Thank you. Thank you for affirming me.
I mean, you've earned the right to do it.
Yeah.
Right? The right to be that. Right? You're working on yourself. You're working on your craft. You're established. What can we do to...
I don't know. You got any suggestions?
I don't know.
Have you ever had that experience of feeling like you were shrinking yourself?
No, but, you know, I'm a man.
That's true.
It's a little bit different.
That is very true.
I think that the example of my father in particular was very much push you out there. Let's, you know, like be as big as you can. Like that's what I saw from him. And also a sense of, I mean, feel extremely comfortable around Black people being my biggest self, but also there ain't no way I'm gonna let some white person shrink me. That could never happen. Like that's completely unthinkable. So
I mean, and that's another interesting part of my childhood too, is that my parents were very much praised the white experience. Like we went to white churches and my dad listened to rock music. Like he was in a rock band and he went to an all-white school and my mother went to an all-white school. And so, yeah, like my Blackness was also something that I feel like I had to apologize for as a kid.
wait, what kind of church?
Oh, goodness. I don't know the denomination, but we were the only Black family.
Really? And you grew up singing in church?
Not really. I mean, when we were going to those churches, it wasn't like, you know, the Black church where they have like the praise team and all that. Like music wasn't the focal point of the experience.
Oh, we went to this Episcopal church occasionally,
Yeah.
growing up. It's so boring. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, y'all.
I mean, it is what it is.
When you start going to a Black church and it's performative and it's exciting and it's thrilling and it's a show and I'm like, that is fun. That feeds my soul.
Yes. I did not get that experience until a little bit later in my like teenage years.
My wife has been making a tradition that we go to service on Christmas Eve. And so I think 3 years we went to the white church up the street, like we could walk to. And the last time we went, my son's like falling asleep in the service. And I'm like, yo, next year we're going to a Black church. And Lake's gonna be like, and she's like, all right, we'll see. I'm like, no, Like we did the white church. We're gonna do something bigger next time.
Yeah.
It's just much more fun.
It is much more fun. The music. All the great musicians and great vocalists came from the Black church.
That's totally true. And I think that there's a correlation between, I think, a decline in church attendance over the last couple decades and what that does to R&B.
Sure, absolutely.
Because there's so many great singers from, let's say, the 90s and before who are products of growing up in church.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah.
And Tony Braxton said, I don't warm up. I'm a church kid. I'm always ready. Just show up. We're ready. What do I need to warm up for? I'm always ready.
Yeah, the musicians, all of them. Like my husband, he grew up playing in the church. And there's yeah, you're right. It makes absolute sense that the decline in church would have that same decline in the musicality and the musicianship of this new generation.
What's Beyonce's best album?
B-Day.
What?
B-Day.
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 What are you talking about?
How you gonna ask me and then criticize? What do you think?
That's how we do. That's how we do. A lot of people agree with you. Stipulated.
Yeah.
They're wrong. It's Renaissance.
Listen. Let me say
No,
that.
it's your opinion. I'm messing with you.
No,
But come on, it's Renaissance.
Look, I love Renaissance. I really do. I love Cowboy Carter.
For sure.
I love all of Beyonce's. I love her first project, Dangerously in Love. Like, what are we talking about? That was just R&B to the core. But it was something about just, B-Day, it felt like the 70s and it felt current and it was just disruptive.
Yeah.
I feel like, who was it? Rich Harrison did a lot of records on that album. Like, I love that, like, go-go sound. Or, yeah, Deja Vu was on that project. What are you saying? Deja Vu? Deja Vu alone. What?
I got Alien Superstar.
Over Deja Vu?
I got Summer Renaissance. I got Cuff It.
Over Get Me Bodied?
I mean, these are all incredible records you're naming.
Freakum Dress?
I just put on Renaissance from top to bottom. I'm grooving. I feel affirmed as a Black person. I feel the love for house and disco, for queer folks, for Black people, for Black women. And just take nothing away from B-Day. It's incredible. And like I said, a lot of people think that's number one.
Not think. A lot of people have this misconception that it's dang.
So wait, tell me your favorite, greatest singers of all time.
Whitney Houston. Tony Braxton. Kim Burrell. Celine Dion is up there for me.
Wow.
Come on. Are you what? Celine Dion is not happening for you?
She leaves me cold.
What? Oh my God.
I feel the spirit and the soul in the other folks. The technique is clear. The pipes are clear.
And see, you asked like vocal wise. I didn't say the ones who made me like, again, this goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. I'm looking at it as someone who can technically do and manipulate.
I said your favorites.
Yeah, and my favorites too. So I guess I am a fan of those who know what to do with their gift.
Okay.
In a way, regardless.
She has a big gift. She's got a big...
Celine, her range?
Unquestionable.
What?
Unquestionable.
Flat foot, just sing.
For sure.
Yes, come on now. I'm scared to give you my other one.
No, don't be scared. It's your opinion. You're the singer. I'm just argumentative.
Okay. Anyone else? Oh, Stevie Wonder.
Of course.
Stevie Wonder's
for sure.
For sure. And he checks all the boxes.
I mean, he's that Nina Simone sort of
Yes.
thing of like, he's going to make you feel it deep in your soul.
But technically, his ear and it's incredible. Stevie Wonder for sure. I'm trying to think and are you familiar with Kim Burrell? Oh yeah, come on. You didn't have
I said
okay, I'm making sure.
For sure.
Anyone else? I have to give some love to my generation.
Yeah.
Kevin Ross is one of the most incredible vocalists, period.
Okay.
Tap in. Oh, Tori Kelly, incredible. Ooh. I mean, I feel like I have, Brandy. How could I not? Brandy.
Brandy was the second name you listed before.
Yes.
And my friend Panama calls her the vocal Bible.
Yeah, we all call her that.
Why do you call her that?
Because, well, here's for me anyway. See, I didn't grow up in the Black church early on. So I didn't really know a lot of gospel artists either. I didn't know Kim Burrell until I was like 16 years old, or heard her music, or Ty Tribbett. My husband got me hip to him like so much later in life. So for me, she was sort of the reflection of a church, like someone who had a church upbringing, but then brought it into this 90s cool way. And so for me, I had never heard anybody sing 90s R&B the way that she did. Like everyone was still giving the all that stuff. And I'm like, ma'am, she was singing like nobody else in that era. It was very disruptive. And her voice, like what she can do with her voice is incredible. And she's a student of Whitney Houston.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
For
So
sure.
it's the lineage. Like she's the next in line for that title, in my opinion.
So we talk about Cleveland, but Atlanta is a huge impact on you as a creative person. It's such a mecca for artistic Black people.
Mm-hmm. I love Atlanta. I do. And that's where I started my artist journey. Like my solo artist journey, I say, is
Right.
Atlanta.
Right.
Because I was in that girl group in Cleveland, for most of my childhood. But finding my voice and what I want to say and what I want to write about and who I want to be as an artist, I definitely found and cultivated in Atlanta.
Yes. I mean, I went to Emory and I felt the vibe and the pride and the beauty. There's this vibrant Black community that's like, we're doing business, we're getting educated, we're being our best selves. And like, it's not like really many other places. It's really special.
It is. And just embracing ourselves for how we are. Because I've lived in LA for a little bit, and just even body image and just being able to exist unapologetically in our Blackness is something that I really love about Atlanta.
I asked people who come on the show, what does being Black mean to you? And how does it show up in the work?
What does being Black mean to me? That's a really good question. That's a really heavy question. Being Black, it's so interesting because I'm actually creating something called Identity Crisis. It's a one-woman show where I'm speaking of my experiences growing up in a Black family that really lifted up white culture and wanted to shrink my Blackness a lot. But then I went to an all-Black school where I was made fun of for being
Oreo.
Exactly.
They
Like,
told you
you
that?
speak like a white girl and you listen to rock and roll and you like Alanis Morissette and you know what I mean? And my government name is Lindsay. So, and I'm going to this all-Black school. So I've had to really struggle with finding what my Blackness truly means to me. So this is a really timely and beautiful question. For me, it's just being authentic. I think that when I was trying to fit into this version of Blackness that my parents had said is okay to take up space in, also contributed to me shrinking myself as well, because I thought that there was something wrong with my hair. I thought that there was something wrong with my skin. I thought that there was something wrong with Black music, Black culture, if this is a thing that needed to be monitored or managed somehow. So for me, being Black is being authentic, because the more that I have embraced just what comes naturally to me, the more comfortable I have been in my skin. So short answer, being Black for me is just being authentic and living in my truth.
No, I resonate with the struggle that you had, that you talk about. I definitely had Black kids saying you're an Oreo, you're not this, you're not that, which is really painful.
It is, because where do you fit? Where do you fit in? Because the kids at the church didn't embrace me, and not to say that I didn't have friends or people that validated whatever the space I was in, but yeah, kids can be cruel. And that was a very big thing. The big, the Oreo, you white on this, how you think you a white girl, you talk like a white girl, you listen to white people music. It was.
And you love being black.
Yes.
But they don't see it, and you're not performing it in the right way.
Exactly. Which is kind of limiting when you think about it, because the black experience shouldn't just be this one size fits all way. Like, I am black, so therefore am I not living authentically black? It's just, but by your standards, because you're not used to a black person being named Lindsay or speaking a certain way in Cleveland or, liking certain music. It just, it almost feels triggering.
Wait,
to them.
What are your sisters' names?
Carrie and Morgan.
So these are very white names.
Yeah. And my parents thought that this was a gift that they gave us, like to say, they would say the honorable Lindsay, the honorable this, like, basically giving us this racial ambiguity so that it looked better on a college, application or a job. Like, your name being this, they can't clock it. They don't know who you are. And they're like, you can always find your name on these personalized items at the store. And, as a kid, I'm thinking like, yeah, they're doing right. But
when you apply for a job, it doesn't it's not the same as Lakeisha.
Yeah, but now, though, I look at it like, but what are you running from? Because at the end of the day, they're still going to see my black ass. And it doesn't matter if I'm Lindsay or Lakeisha. I'm still a black woman. And so, I don't, again, but I know that they were doing their best to try and protect me from this world. But I think it did a little more damage than good, for sure.
Because it separated you from your blackness.
Yes. Definitely.
So you kind of had to learn it outside the home, really.
Yes. I would say college was very pivotal for me.
Me too.
Yeah.
For sure. Wait, what did you read? What did you encounter in college that really tapped you in? Where did you go?
I went to Kent State. So I didn't go to a historically black college, but because it wasn't because we didn't have a large black population, the black students had you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had this program called Kupita where the black students got to go a week before everyone else to kind of transition.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And so just the community of all these different people from all over the world, I think allowed me to feel more comfortable in my quirkiness, because if you're in one place and everyone's talking the same and everyone's doing the same thing, if you're the oddball, it's a bad thing. But there's people from LA, there's people from New York, there's people from everywhere, and they're coming together for school, and we're all black, but we have all these different experiences. And so I felt affirmed in my version of blackness, but then also inspired by my black experience classes and, Pan-African studies, and just seeing all these different versions of blackness and me trying to figure out what resonated authentically with me without someone telling me how to be.
I remember reading the autobiography of Malcolm X in the spring of my freshman year.
Yeah.
And there was the cafeteria that everybody went to. And there was a good month I was like, I'm going to the other cafeteria that nobody goes to so I can read this book alone, because this book is hitting me deep. And it pulled me deeper into my blackness. And I mean, I already loved being black, but it made it deeper and more tangible for me. And I made real tangible changes in my life and my outlook because of that, and went deeper into my blackness.
I feel that way about Assata Shakur's biography.
I love that book.
I've read it 3 times.
What I love about that book is that she gets to the point where she's in prison, and then next chapter, and then I was free. And I'm like, what? I love that you didn't say anything, but I also I want to know, how did you get out? What did you do?
Well, she mentioned the guys who came.
She did.
She mentioned the guys who came to get her.
But it's a film jump. It's a film leap of now we're free.
But speaking of which, why hasn't there been a film about her phenomenal life? This woman is still very much here. She is living in Cuba. Why has there not been a film about her incredible life?
I imagine that trying to get somebody to risk $20 million on a film of somebody who a lot of white Americans would look at as
a cop killer
or terrorist, whatever. We'd be like, yes, I want to see the Assata Shakur biopic for sure. But can Erica Alexander or Regina or whoever get a studio to give them $20 million or something to make a film about you could more easily do the Afeni Shakur story.
That's Tupac's mother.
Yes, right? Or the Elaine Brown story, right? Who ran the Panthers in the 70s. I want to see the Assata Shakur document, whatever you, but would others want? I can understand why they don't want to make a $20 million bet on that.
But I guess that just also goes back to, do we need white people to make it though? Because
as of right now,
we got the means to come together and do it.
That book was seminal for you.
Oh yeah, I know it was.
That like for Malcolm, that pulled you deeper into your Blackness.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's incredibly inspirational.
Yeah, she is.
For sure.
We're gonna make that movie.
But starring you. So wait, does your family call you Lindsay or Jade?
Lindsay.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that feel bad?
No, I mean they call me Linz. Yeah.
And you don't care?
No. I mean, if I'm in, like, if they're coming to my show and like my mom ran the merch table one time when I was in Cleveland, yeah, they'll call me Jade within the context of like me working. But if I'm at home or if we're on the phone, it's always Linz. Yeah.
It's funny when you change your name and you try to get the old folks in your life to go along with it, and they're like, "What? I mean,
I would imagine Lady Gaga's parents don't call her Lady Gaga. They call her Stephanie. They call her Lady.
She said her parents call her Gaga. If memory serves, she's like, everybody calls me Gaga now.
Well, I feel like if I asked them to and I made a thing of it, like, if I'm becoming Muhammad Ali from Cassius Clay, like, then I think that they would.
When did you become Jade?
2011.
Why?
Why did I choose that name?
Yeah.
Because it felt like who I was and who I was becoming and who I wanted to be. Like I was really in that space of figuring out my spirituality and, like I said, being intentional about journaling and affirming myself. And Jade is the stone that represents positivity and love. It's so beautiful. It's feminine. And Nova is an exploding star. And I've always been into the cosmos and all of that. So it just felt like a really cool combination. And I'm like, yeah, that's who I'm creating myself to be.
A feminine, exploding star. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Hey, if you like what you saw today, be sure to check out more Touré Show content right here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button for more Touré Show content every week.